Well, one man who does have some cars out on track at the moment is the Minardi boss, Paul Stoddart. What does he make of it all, Louise?
Well, Paul, your cars are circulating out there on the track. Just explain that decision to us. Why did you go out and race?
This morning, Lou, 9 teams agreed not to race today unless there was chicane put in to allow the Michelin runners to run. The reason my cars are out there is simple, is because one of those teams decided not to honour that commitment, and it's the only team we're racing in the championship, which is Jordan. So while the Jordan cars continue to circulate, we have no choice. But I have to say, I don't believe that this should have happened. It shouldn't have come to this. What we've done here today is going to live a long time in Formula One supporters and fans around the world's eyes, and it's not good for the sport.
What for you was a sensible resolution of this issue?
We had enough time this morning to put a chicane in, which was what was requested. Would have allowed all teams to compete and race. 9 out of the 10 teams agreed this morning not to race unless that chicane was put in. I believe the FIA and Ferrari did not take an issue, and the FIA did not agree to that chicane, and all of the reasons and the reverberations from the decision to not do that, well, we're hearing it here in the stands. I don't blame people for stamping their feet. The most important thing today was that a race should go ahead, but this is not a race, this is a farce. You
mentioned that, there were 9 teams in agreement that you would race. Obviously, the team that weren't was Ferrari. Ferrari have, we've seen over this season, traditionally stood with the FIA on matters. Is there an element of that argument continuing through into this, what we have here?
I think it's going to come out that way. I mean, Ferrari are probably in an interesting position. They'll say that the Bridgestone tyres had no problems, and why should they be disadvantaged when they're fighting for the championship? But no one's going to take this race seriously today. No one's going to be happy that Ferrari has a 1-2, and no one's going to be happy that the rest of the cars are not competing. And, this is... Formula One's done some crazy things lately with the FIA interfering with regulations, etc., etc. But this one today, I think, will have far-reaching implications. All this talk about stupid regulations, all the interference in the sport, it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now, because if it doesn't stop, what we're seeing here this afternoon is exactly where Formula One is heading, unless some people quickly act to right the wrongs, and the wrongs start at the top.
Assuming your cars get to the finish, you will score some very valuable points, which under normal circumstances is very difficult for you to do. Will you take no joy from that?
Not the slightest. As you can see, the cars are racing. It's the first time I can ever remember being back out the back of the garage while the cars are racing. I'm not in the slightest bit interested. This is not a race, it's a farce.
Thanks, Paul.